So I'm Eli D'Elia. My background is actually a long time ago. I was in visual effects. That kind of introduced me to motion capture, which evolved into robotics. I design drones. I'm working with a company right now to build these search and rescue training drones.
So last year you were just an attendee, right?
Yeah, I was just kind of wandering freely, just exploring the booths and seeing what generative design could do. It was just incredibly inspiring.
And this year you're here as a speaker.
Yeah, I'm teaching a class in drone design. We'll be talking about how to use Fusion and flow design to validate your design process. Now, this is kind of the fusion between an artist and the computer. This is them working symbiotically, basically.
Human designers are confined to kind of what we've been taught and what we know, and we're solving problems that we are basically faced with and constrained with, like cost and materials and things. But you feed this math data, you reduce it down to like, this is what I need it to do. I need it, like if it's a chair, I need it to support 215 pounds. I need it to be made out of wood, and I can't have it cost more than, X amount of dollars. You feed all that information into the computer then goes into directions that the traditional human designer would have never come up with.
Artists got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of versions of the chair, and then was able to basically come up with a criteria purely based on aesthetics, because they had plenty to choose from.
And so then it comes back to the designer. The designer pulls it into Fusion 360, cleans it up, adds a little bit of nuance that they know that the market will like.
It's gorgeous, and I expect to see an entire wave of furniture and machines actually start to emerge out of this between 2017 and 2050. There's really no end to it. We're just going to kind of refine this process down to just the elegance of creation. What nature does, on its own, we have finally figured out the equations to start to mimic it, which is wonderful. Okay, so let's walk over here, and when we wonder, like, how are these things going to actually be made? This is the type of robot you would see on the floor of an automotive plant being repurposed as a 3D printer.
It's the big thing with generative design. It changes the manufacturing game. It really turns it on its head. Before, you had to kind of think about, like, how is this going to be manufacturable, in the form of a mold.
So it can pivot off of any particular point and come up with shapes and designs that are previously undoable.
You're literally watching these machines grow these visions into reality, which is just amazing to me. I look at it very enthusiastically because I know that this is stuff that my competitors won't be able to keep up with me with for a while. I kind of feel like I'm ahead of the game right now with my team, and the solutions that we come up with, only we can do.
All right, we're over here by the immersive design exhibit.
Right. Actually, this is kind of really important because when artists around the world need to talk, we can actually now throw on virtual reality goggles and have a conversation in the same virtual space, and to the point where we can load up a model and we can all gather around that model and start to shape it right there in the virtual space. So I may have like my own design, but I might need a guy in Japan for his input on this, but there's no way for me to get there like that afternoon when he's got the time. So together we can just meet in a virtual space and work together like we hang out every day. And now the next step to this is actually to link it with a real tool shop or a real manufacturer. So when we're ready to say, okay, this part's awesome, can we all give the thumbs up? Let's send this to the machines to make it happen. And together we can push that button in a virtual space, but it goes to a real tool shop where it will actually be made for the real world.
If you look back when like Ford Motor Works first started, the automobiles that they were putting out then, I'm sure in their mind are like, wow, what a cutting edge, bleeding edge piece of hardware we've just manufactured. You've never seen anything like it. When we walk the floor, I'm seeing that again. When we look back at Ford Motor Works now in those first cars, they look incredibly primitive compared to what we have now. I'm really excited about where the entire industry is actually going, and I'm really happy to be surfing that wave right now. I don't see a beach in sight, but I'm on that wave and I'm pretty happy about it.